Welcome to the Teams with Tony video series. Today, I'm your host, Tony Capraletti. I'm a solutions architect at ProServe IT. I've been with the company for about just now 10 years, actually. And I am kind of one of the ones who leads the practice for the modern workplace stack, the Microsoft stack. So, which means Teams, SharePoint. I'm familiar with a lot of the other services inside the Microsoft stack, Exchange, Active Directory, things like that. So I'll be leading this series today. Again, we're going to be going over a few things around the Teams platform. And you've joined because you're, kind of looking to get some more information on Microsoft Teams and how it can help your organization. Maybe you're new and you're trying to figure out how does this platform fit into your business, and how can you make use of it to make your team more productive. So the intention here is to kind of take you through and show you some of the features with Teams and get you thinking about some of the key items that are going to be important for setting this up for your organization. I do have a colleague of mine on the line here from the marketing team, Stephanie Baskerville, so she'll be sitting in the background and helping me do some of the demo activities and such. And if you do have questions, please do post them in the question area on the Zoom meeting, and we'll try to answer those throughout. I will pause every once in a while just to take a breath, take a drink, and to potentially answer the questions. We've only got 30 minutes, so we're just going to kind of run through this and see where it goes. Please do ask questions. I'll try to answer them. If I can't answer them now, I will try to answer them later on through email. And again, reach out to us at cloud@ProServeIT for any questions. And we are recording this meeting, so it will be available for later on to view as well. So getting started, I just have something on the screen here. You'll notice I just got a few check items, just some of the things that you should be thinking about as an organization when adopting Teams. Whether you're brand new to this platform, or you're kind of thinking about how you can use it to better increase collaboration and efficiency for staff. As you might know, Teams is used as a conferencing solution, video and audio conferencing solution, as well as it even does a full PBX phone system. So you can actually migrate for your phone system from what it is today into Microsoft Teams, and ties everything together from a collaboration standpoint. It has a lot of great features built into it. So yeah, again, there's tons of different features with Teams. I think one of the important things is, turning it on is quite simple for the organization. But what I think you should be looking at is, turning it on is one thing, but managing it after the fact is where it can get kind of tricky. So for small companies, it's easy to just, get the license from a provider such as ProServe IT and enable it, and then start collaborating, with chats, with setting up teams, sharing files. But then what you'll find is that it can get quite convoluted quickly. And there is a sort of best practices or appropriate way to organize teams for each different company. And there's some also policies that you can implement to set up, for your organization to collaborate better and more efficient, and to protect your data and IP for the company. So those are some of the things that we should be thinking about when rolling out Teams. We've been doing this now for better part of three years, helping customers deploy this solution. Been doing a lot more of the voice integration with Teams lately, because with Canada allowing Microsoft to become a provider, a carrier inside Canada, so that kind of kicked things off inside the country to start using this a little bit more. So we've been doing a lot of that work lately. But yeah, I want to do is I've got a demo environment set up here. I've also got my phone, which is connected to here, show you like kind of the differences and similarities between the mobile application as well as the Teams client on the desktop. I am using a Windows machine, so you'll see the similarities in the app. And it actually makes things kind of nice because you can be on a tablet or a mobile phone and have virtually the same experience as you would being at your desktop. So let me just pull up this demo environment here. Show you. So what we've got my demo environment. There's virtually nothing in here. Actually, it doesn't even have a full Teams license in here. This is just the Teams exploratory license, which a lot of you are probably wondering if you are an admins and setting this up, is that you get the Teams exploratory license just to use as almost as a trial, just to see what it can do. There are some limitations with this particular license, but for what we're doing here today, it's kind of perfect for what we need. Again, so on the left, you've got your few tabs here for the Teams app, and these are all the different chats we have between people inside my organization. You'll notice that there's a color code here for those who are online or maybe offline and or busy. So there's different color codes like red, green, yellow, etc., just to have that nice point of presence for that person. So I see that Stephanie now has changed from green to red and busy. I can still message her, by sending a quick message or clicking on here and sending a message that way. So it's nice to be able to do that. Notice that she just changed from red to do not disturb. So if I send her a message, she's not going to get a notification that pops up in her right corner. It'll just kind of go to email eventually, or it'll just show as she has a notification to answer later on. The other nice thing too, obviously with Teams, is that it's a great place to collaborate. You notice that there's all sorts of things. You notice that the chat, we have a chat feature, which is the typical location where you start messaging. And then within here, you have up at the top, you'll notice that there's files, there's organization, activity, and you can even add certain items to this. You can add applications. There's different applications that are being added to the Office 365 marketplace like every day. So you'll notice there's a ton of these different apps. At the moment, this is something that probably a lot of people aren't taking advantage of just yet, to be fair. But this is where I think Microsoft is starting to take their customers, is to be able to use these other applications inside the Teams platform to be able to collaborate even better. And there's, these applications, they're building their apps to work with Microsoft Teams because it's such a powerful platform. So again, there's lots of different use cases with this platform, and each organization is going to have different use cases. So one of the things that we try to do is we try to sit with you if we're engaged and try to understand what your use cases are with working every day with maybe a specific department. Go through some of those use cases, and then what we do is we try to tailor some of those use cases to what it might be in the Teams environment, and then build that out from there. So we build out the teams and the channels, and show you how to organize them to get the most benefit out of the platform, and making it easier to manage as well. So yeah, I think what Stephanie has done here, she's actually populated a document in here that shows how we can collaborate with one another on a specific document, and all the changes are happening in real time versus passing documents back and forth through email or some other method in the file sharing environment. So just populate that. So if I click on collaboration, it opens it up by default inside the Teams app. And the benefit is that you can work on it through this inside the Teams app, or you can choose to open it up within the application if you have the license to be able to do so. So in this case, you'll notice that there's an open in desktop app here up at the top, which is if you have Microsoft Word, which is a Word file. If you have Word installed on your desktop, you can use that to modify and work on the document versus doing it inside the Teams, which typically I tend to do because I get a richer experience to doing that. Notice I can see Steph's line here, and notice it populates, shows that her name's up, the last one to modify right there. And I can see up here at the top right, SB for Stephanie Baskerville. So how convenient is this? Yes, it's pretty convenient, Steph. Thank you. So this is just one way that you can use this application to work with others as a group, or even just as a one-on-one type thing. Collaborating on documents is good for project workers. And again, tons of different use cases. This is one of those interesting use cases. And this is just using this inside the chat platform, right? So if I close this, let's close that, take a second. And if you notice here, I'm using this application inside the web browser view. I'm not even using this in the rich Teams app that I have downloaded on my desktop because I'm using it in a demo environment. And I didn't really want it to interfere with my my locally installed version for my corporate account. So I'm using this in the web browser version, which is virtually the same as the other Teams app. You'll notice it's a different account that I'm using here, but you notice that it looks exactly the same as it does from the Teams client from here. Once we click on Teams over here on the left, I want to show you. Actually, before I even go there, I'll scroll down to the left here. That we've got Teams, we've got calls, we've got files. So calls are, we don't really have the license to be able to do this, but if you had the Teams voice license to be able to dial out to the outside world to a landline or a cell phone line, you would have this capability. But right now we don't have that enabled here. But this is where you would see other features and functionality available within this tab. And files, this kind of shows the most recent files here that I've been working on. So Steph sent this one collaboration that automatically populates in the recent files and saves it into the back end here is SharePoint / OneDrive. And you'll notice that by default, my OneDrive account through my demo is automatically linked to this Teams account here. So any documents that I might have been working on or have saved in my OneDrive account I'd be able to view them in here, which is actually quite handy as well. One of the ways that we work internally is, we use a lot of documents within SharePoint. So what I've done is I've actually added some of the SharePoint document libraries where we save files. I've added those into certain teams and channels inside this Teams app to be able to work on them a little bit more effectively, and it's just easier to get to sometimes. So you have multiple ways of accessing documents back and forth by using this. So yeah, you'll see in the Microsoft Teams, there's recent documents. These are 2 documents that have recently been used by me, myself and Steph. And then if I go back up here to Teams, this would be all of the different teams and/or channels that I have access to, right? So, and then I can create teams if my organization allows me to. This feature or functionality is something that you can control as an admin of the company to be able to allow or disallow the use of, creating teams or joining teams and such. So let's just do a quick demo of creating a team in this case. So this one was there by default. So let's just create a new one, create a team. Now, here's a good point. If someone has passed you a Teams code, you just have to enter that code in here and you're automatically joined to that team. They would send it to you. Let's just create a new team. In this case, you have a bunch of different options here. You'll notice that there's different templates available for you to use if you want to, depending on what you're doing and what you're maybe creating this for. But we're just going to create a simple one from scratch, a basic team. And then you'll have 3 choices. It's going to be a private team, it can be a public team, and an organization-wide team. So these are important things to understand before you go and start creating these, because they do have consequences or ramifications. So when you create a public team, it sort of opens up the door for maybe external users to be able to get in access to it, not necessarily by automatically, but there is a security consequence that you should be aware of, at least when you're going and creating these. So normally we just suggest that it's a private team to do it. So we'll just create private team, and we'll say Teams webinar test. And then so let's find some people know about this team. Let's say create. Nice work. And so right now, what we'll do is we'll add Stephanie. So notice I start typing her name and it populates it because she's inside the organization. The other handy thing too is I'll point out is that you can use teams and channels and stuff to collaborate with users that are outside of your organization. This is a really powerful feature that Teams has that more and more people are starting to take advantage of. But again, before you start going and doing that, it's important to understand what you're doing and doing it the right way so that you protect your data and your IP in the event of a breach of some sort or a malicious member. So notice it's Stephanie. I can choose for her to be a member, or I could choose for her to be an owner. At this point, we'll just say member, and then we'll close. And then perfect. So then you notice that it's popping up, and by default, it puts this general channel in here. But what you can do is you can add multiple channels to a specific team to give you a lot more flexibility and kind of segregate maybe different people from different channels and such like that. So again, lots of different possibilities with this, and again, a lot of things to be aware of. Again, same thing with the chat with Steph earlier. You can add files. There's even a wiki. Again, can add applications. A lot of people maybe have a website that they frequent. If they're working on a project together, again, they can add that particular website to that, and so just go to that app, and it's automatically there. Again, document library. You can add SharePoint document libraries, Excel files. Maybe you're working on an Excel file. Again, Power BI is another thing that's kind of getting utilized more and more. So this would be an example. Maybe there's a CEO or C-level executives that have dashboards that they need access to. So easy way to add those dashboards inside Microsoft Teams, a channel where you can go in every morning, look at it if you have to access it every day. Just one of the particular use cases. So I'll pause there for a second and ask if anybody has any questions.
We do have a few questions on the line, Tony, actually from Anita. Are these additional apps free to Office 365 subscribers? And also, can I add someone not within my agency?
Yes, so yes, you can add somebody outside of your agency. But again, it's important to understand how to do it the right way when doing it, right? So there's two things. There's something called guest access with Microsoft Teams, and there's something called external access, which they both have different kind of meanings and functionality really within it. And there's different use cases for each one. I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole with both of those, but I just want you to be aware that yes, you can do it. It is a good idea to do it, and it is a very powerful way to collaborate and connect with other people, especially those others who have a Teams account with another organization. But yes, it is powerful. The other thing you asked was,
are these additional
other apps? Yeah. Right. Can you add the apps for free? A lot of them are free. Yes. Some of them they may have like subscriptions depending on what you're using them for. Maybe like I'll use like Salesforce or something, right? You're not really going to be using Salesforce unless you have a subscription for it. Salesforce would have some sort of API to tie into the Teams platform, and you could use it through that. But yes, a lot of the applications are free, depending on what they are, what they're doing. Any other questions we have, Seth?
That is the only ones showing up right now, but
Okay.
folks, you can definitely add more questions in as well. We've got a couple more minutes so that we can answer as many questions as we can throughout the webinar, but
Yeah, I know we're already kind of pushing up the time limit. So feel free to ask questions. Again,
yeah,
the important things are here too is this is a very powerful tool. I would make a suggestion to you if you're kind of new to this platform and want to start using it, and you've been asking yourself, I want to start using it, learning a little bit more about it. I would suggest connecting with a partner such as ourselves to be able to go through and sit with us to understand what some of the use cases are for your organization and how to set it up appropriately so that you can work, more effectively and efficiently while protecting yourself. Because as you can probably see, is that next thing you know, there's 2 teams here now. If you open this up to the entire organization, people are going to start creating teams and channels all over the place. And the next thing you know, you might have documents that are living in all different sort of locations, and there's no real, management behind them. And it gets messy very quickly. So that's one thing I would just make sure to caution you is that if you're going to start using this, get some help in setting it up the right way before you get started. And again, it's always a good idea to have some kind of adoption training plan for the end users if they haven't used the platform before, for sure. Yeah, and I see a question here from Anita. Is there an app comparable to Tableau and Office 365? Tableau is, I want to say that's the comparable to Power BI. If I'm not mistaken. I can't remember exactly what Tableau is. If maybe Steph, off the top of your head. I had forgotten, but I think
I'm
what I
not sure.
recall.
Dashboard software. That's what Anita just said.
Okay. So yeah, that's the comparable to Tableau would be like a Power BI in Office 365. And with Power BI, there are a couple different licensing SKUs for that. There's a Power BI like standard, and then there's a Power BI Pro that lets you do more, allows you to connect to like a database on premise even, and pull data from that into the Office 365 platform that you could create your dashboards from that. Hopefully that helped, Anita. What was that other thing I was going to mention to you? I think there was oh yeah, I wanted to point out, I almost forgot my phone. Let me pull this up. So this is, as you'll notice, on the left and right, I got my phone app, which is connected to the same demo account. You notice that it's the same content. And if I click over to chat, you'll see the same stuff from Stephanie as well before. And it's pretty much all like real time, honestly. So the experience is virtually the same. You've got your tabs at the bottom versus being on the left-hand side on the mobile app. And by the way, I'm using an Android phone, just to let everybody know. So the iPhone experience is going to be virtually the same as well. You get your teams, you have calls, and then you have more, which will show you some different apps and stuff that you can add into your account. One of the things that I recently was testing is there's something called the walkie-talkie app that you can add into Teams, which is literally like a walkie-talkie. So I've been playing around with it with one of the other members of my team, and it's actually kind of cool, right? So it acts like a walkie-talkie. We're trying to figure out what the use cases are for that. So far, could be factory workers or frontline workers might find that useful, where you can just connect with somebody in the organization, holding down the button, just like a walkie-talkie. You hold it down. The only trouble is that there's no recording of the content in any manner, so there's no transcript. Whereas if you're chatting with somebody here, like you see Steph, and we're chatting, that's all kind of documented and available as a persistent chat, whereas the walkie-talkie is not. And maybe I'll touch on that too, is right. All this content that you're seeing on the Teams app is a persistent content. So you have a way to, go back and review it and search for content, which a lot of companies were interested in understanding that it was saved and it wasn't going to be going away, because a lot of companies have retention policies that need to be kept in place for up to 7-10 years, depending on who you are. Let's see if there's any other questions. If I record a meeting, is there a transcription of the dialogue? That's another question from Anita I see here. If I record meetings, yes. Yes, you can do transcription of recorded meetings within Teams. Yes, we have some people who do that. Yes. And maybe for those who are not familiar, there is something called like a Teams live event, which is more geared towards like a broadcasting out for a lot more people. So like the standard Teams meeting can go up to like 1,000 people, roughly. I think they bumped it up to 1,000 recently, but the broadcast or the Teams live event can go up to, I think, 100,000, maybe even beyond that now. So it's a little bit different experience. More, you can still present content, you have a chat feature, and have a video like we're doing here now. The only difference is that usually the response from the other side, from the users, is blocked. There's no real response from audio video. And that's something that would become with like one of your enterprise SKUs, Teams live events available within that SKU. I'm seeing Stephanie, it's searchable? There is no yes. Okay. Yes.
I'm just adding my 2 cents. It's okay,
yes.
Tony.
Yeah. And he was asking, are you going to show the live feature today? No, I can't. I don't have time to do that, unfortunately. We have done one where we showed the live event before. It was a while back, but if we can find that stuff, that video that we did before from Teams live event, we'll try to pass that along to you if you wanted to see it.
I can double check for it. Yes.
Is there a link to a pre-recorded session? Yes. So yes, I think we have one. If we'll try to find it and send it off to you. Just send us a message, Anita, and we'll try to send you that. If we don't have one, which I feel like we do, we'll point you to in a direction where there's a decent showing of it. And again, I think maybe what we'll do is we'll close off. We got one or 2 minutes left, everyone. And again, thank you for your time in here. Then this Teams application comes with most Office 365 SKUs, and I think I mentioned that I am using this on this demo platform with a Teams exploratory license, which gives you access to do a lot of things. There's some things that are restricted, normal as per expected, but it does work for most users' needs, for that matter. And if you need help, if you're interested in getting help with your organization setting up the application appropriately, we do have some offers. We call them like Teams governance workshops, collaboration workshops. So please reach out to us and ask us for help. You'll be in touch with someone like myself and one of our account managers, and we'll help get you set up. And I think from that we'll close it off. And I appreciate you guys joining in. And again, reach out to us at cloud@ProServeIT if you have any questions or comments. And join us next time for the next episode. Thank you.